An update tonight on a CBC News investigation into an Air Canada workplace issue. It involves sexually explicit material left on flight decks by some pilots in defiance of warnings. After Diana Swain broke the story last month, more people came forward, including a female pilot who says she couldn't stay silent.
You could encounter it once or twice every month. It would range from a sunshine girl kind of image to clearly explicit images that would include genitals and full nudity.
Pornography in the flight deck. Not an isolated problem, but one she says female pilots encounter regularly at Air Canada. That flies in the face of the airline's response when we asked about it last month. CBC News learned the company had repeatedly issued internal bulletins imploring pilots to stop leaving inappropriate material in the flight deck. But in a statement to us, Air Canada played it down. Almost entirely inappropriate business cards, they wrote, confined mainly to one aircraft type, to Las Vegas.
This kind of material would be found on all aircraft types.
This female pilot, who has extensive experience with Air Canada, says it was the company's dismissive response that prompted her to want to clear the air.
You know, I'm sure the board of directors at Air Canada, when they meet, aren't distributing pictures of women's genitals on their desks.
But it was also something else that propelled her to come forward.
I was heartbroken for the lady in question.
She's talking about an angry online backlash against the female pilot we mentioned in our first story, who complained to Transport Canada about a picture left in the flight deck showing a knife drawn at the back of a naked woman.
Seems to me the pilot to fire is her.
Don't know if I want someone that fragile flying my plane.
How would she cope if something serious happened?
To discover an image that was displaying violence against women, any reasonable person would feel that that has no place in anybody's workplace. Misogyny undermines the effective crew coordination and teamwork of two pilots in the flight deck.
She insists the majority of her fellow pilots are professionals, but says Air Canada has done too little to stop those who still resent women in the pilot's seat.
There are a minority of individual male pilots that perhaps are leaving that material to send a message to the women that they're not welcome.
The pilot says she believes the solution lies in what she calls the majority of good men at Air Canada speaking out against the issue. Of the company's roughly 3,000 pilots, only about 150 are women. Air Canada has previously said it has a zero-tolerance policy on sexual harassment. We asked if anyone has been suspended or fired for leaving inappropriate material in the flight deck, but Air Canada hasn't responded to any of our questions since our first story aired. Diana Swain, CBC News, Toronto.